All right. Okay, so welcome again. So one of the things that you'll be sure to get in our meetings, these Zoom calls, is you get simplicity, clarity, practical tools, practical knowledge that you can implement immediately in your life, and you begin to get results instantly. These are the things that other people have done. It has worked for them. These are the things that we are working. These are principles that we are working and is working for us. Someone says that success leaves clues. Success is not an accident. And one of the things is that the law of cause and effect. If you know and do what successful people know and do, you definitely get the same results, because these are universal laws. These are the laws of God. Just like gravity, you will jump, you come down, you're not going to fly. That's the way the universal laws are, cause and effect. You do something and the cause will result to an effect. So something causes something. If you do what successful people do in different areas of your life, you will get the results. There are no new knowledge. Everything that we need in this life to become successful in every area of our lives is already available somewhere, already written in a book somewhere. Someone has already discovered and practiced it. And if we discover and practice the same thing, we get the same result. So if we are struggling in an area of our life, let's say we are struggling in our marriage, relationship, we're struggling in our finances or our career, there are people that are already successful in these areas. What we need is knowledge and the ability to implement the knowledge. If we learn what they know and do it, we will get the same results. So we really do not have any excuse. What we need to do is to be intentional about knowledge, seeking out the right information, seeking out the right mentors, and learning what they already know. And that is why reading books are very powerful. Gone are the days that you need to know your mentor one-on-one. You need to be going to your mentor's house or calling the mentor on the phone. Gone are those days. But if you have the privilege, it's amazing. Now we have books, we have resources. They are readily available. The internet, has made it so available, so accessible, that we can be in our homes and grow in every area of our lives. We can just be on our own, read a book, and learn from someone's wealth of knowledge. What took someone 40 years to learn, implement, you'll be able to learn it in like a week or less, reading a book. That is why reading is so powerful. So today we are going to be talking about my Growth GPS. My Growth GPS. This is like mapping out your own personal growth plan. You've shared your personal life vision, you've defined it, you've defined your mission, you've defined your goal, you've defined your values, you've defined your ideal life. Now it's time to create a plan to grow in these things, because some of the visions, the life visions that we've written down, we right now will not be able to accomplish it. We need to become the kind of person that can accomplish that goal. And it takes growth. It takes growth. There are great and mighty things that God has in store for us. But the person that we are today, the level of knowledge, the level of growth that we have at this moment, we might not be able to access those things. I have children. I love them. As much as I love them so much, I can't hand over the car keys to them to go and drive. I'll be destroying them, even though I want them to drive. And they have the potential, but they've not grown to the level of which they can be able to handle the steering. So it takes growth to be able to access some things that God has in store for us. So, and we need a plan. There's a very funny illustration I always, use, and it's very practical. Sometimes you be in a city, like I live in Lagos, and I have cousins that live here. I have my siblings that live here in Lagos that we've not even seen in a very long while. Even friends that we want to see, definitely, we could call on the phone. I'm like, this Lagos, we need to see. And on their own path, they will also agree, we need to see. And then by the time we finish, we'll now say bye-bye and cut the phone. We are never going to see. Yes, we know that we need to see. Yes, we know that we need to grow in this area. But if we don't decide at some point during the call, if we don't make that decision, come to a point that we say, okay, on Friday, by 12 noon, we're going to have lunch at the place, or we're going to go to this restaurant at this time on this day to have lunch or to meet up. If we don't make that decision at some point during the call, and then we cut off the call, we are not going to see. That seeing will not happen. And that is exactly the same thing that happens with us. We know that we need to read more. We know that we need to grow in our career. We know that we need to do this. We know that we need to do that. But if we don't get to the point that we say, okay, so and so day, so and so time, this is how I'm going to start. This is what I'm going to do. You give yourself a time to start and a time to finish. That thing is never going to happen. And that is where my Growth G.P.S comes in. So when I say GPS, I know what goes on in our minds is the normal GPS for navigation and all that, which is amazing because it's part of it. But this GPS is an acronym that I formulated, and the G means G stands for goals. G stands for goals. P stands for plan. And then S stands for schedule or schedule. So the GPS, if you're writing, the GPS is an acronym that stands for growth, plan, and schedule. Growth, plan, and schedule or schedule. So we've talked partly about goals. Goals are the things that you want to accomplish. Goals are things that you want to, like, we're getting to this new year. We have goals. These are the things we want to accomplish. There are long-term goals. There are short-term goals. Goals are like, okay, you have a dream or a vision, what you want to accomplish. But the difference between vision, dreams, and goals is that goals have deadlines. There is a deadline for a goal. I'm going to accomplish this thing by this time. Once you put a deadline to a task, it becomes a goal. If there's no deadline, it's just an end. It's a dream. It'll be like a vision, you're just, dreaming, imagination, and all those things. But once you put a deadline, it becomes a goal. So with this definition, okay, I'm back. This cut me off. Please, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So, with the definition of the goals that I just shared now, you'll be able to tell if you have been setting goals or you've been dreaming. Because for so many years, I know I've been dreaming. We're entering a new year. You write down your New Year resolution. You just write those long things there, and it never happens. And this is the reason why it doesn't happen, because there are no deadlines, there are no dates, there are no definite plans and schedule for them. And as long as you don't make the scheduling, it's not going to work. Just like I can finish that call and you don't book that appointment and lock in that date and the venue and time, that meeting will never happen. So this is one of the reasons why we accomplish things. Ended. A relationship between your brain and your hands. So like when you have that, the goal and you write it down and you set that deadline, it registers in your subconscious. It does register. I don't know how it happens. I do not know how it happens. Trying to find out how this happens, this relationship between the hand and the mind and your subconscious, that connection, trying to find out how it happens is like trying to find out how you're feeling pain in your head, you have a headache, and then you swallow paracetamol that goes inside your stomach, and then the thing now enters your brain and stops the headache. How does it happen? That is the same relationship between the brain and the hands. Once you set your goals, you write it down, something registers. And once that thing registers, you begin to see the opportunities around you. Once the opportunity comes, you are able to recognize it immediately. But if you don't make that connection, opportunities are constantly passing by us and we don't see it. We don't even recognize it at all. Just like the illustration I gave last week. Once you get into a dealership and you make up your mind, I'm going to buy this red Mercedes-Benz. You call the model red, and you think that this is so unique and peculiar. Once you make that decision that this is the color of the car, the model that I'm going to buy, once you hit the road, you are going to begin to see it everywhere. And you'll be wondering, so this car is even here. Like, I didn't even know this car was so common. It's been there, but because you didn't register it, so it passes you and you don't notice it. That's what happens with opportunities. When we don't register our goals, by writing it and setting deadlines for it, when we don't make that connect with goals, opportunities will be passing by us and we will never see it. So I'll say two things now. Goals have deadlines, and then there is a relationship between your head and your hand. So you need to write your goals. The Bible says write the vision and make it plain. So you just write them down and write this, I want to do this by this. Okay. The network is very wonderful this night. It's so wonderful. So I'll share a brief story about my own personal growth journey. I remember when I started my personal development journey and I started learning the importance of, personal growth in different areas, of my life. When I started realizing that spiritual growth is not equal to personal growth, is not equal to emotional growth or financial growth. You can be a spiritual giant and a baby in your emotions, a baby in the area of, your confidence. You be a baby in finances. You don't know anything about financial literacy. You don't have any knowledge there. Spiritual growth does not automatically improve all these other areas of our lives. One of the things that happened to me, because I have been growing spiritually almost all my adult life. I grew up in a very wonderful Christian home. We were introduced to amazing resources. My daddy was a pastor, introduced to amazing resources, audios, videos, books. But one of the things that happened to me is that once I started my personal development journey, it became easy for me to begin to manifest all these other gifts, all these other amazing things that have been deposited in my spirit. Because of lack of, self-confidence, timidity, and shyness, I couldn't speak. I couldn't, communicate effectively. The things that I knew, that, the wealth of knowledge, spiritual knowledge stored up in my heart. But with personal development, which affects other areas like your emotions, your will, your mind, your character, it begins to build such level of confidence in you that you can be able to express the other things that you have deposited on the inside of you. Personal development is one of the best things that happened to me. So when I realized how important it was, I created a personal growth plan. And one of the things in my personal growth plan, I wrote out different areas of my life I wanted to grow in. And then I started sorting out resources in those areas, books in those areas. That was the first thing I did. And then that's part of the planning. You decide the area that you want to grow in. We have talked about goals. Now we are in plan. You decide the area that you want to grow in. As we are stepping into this new year, what area do you want to grow in? Do you want to advance in? Do you want to advance in your career, in your business, in your finances, in your relationship? What area of your life do you want to grow in? You have to, identify that area and begin to seek out the right resources, the right network, the right mentors in those areas. Just like I said initially, that everything that we need to succeed in this life is already written in a book somewhere. Someone already knows it. Some people are already practicing it. If we get in contact with those people, get in contact with those networks, the grace for those things will begin to reflect. They begin to teach us, begin to learn, even from the books. For instance, so many people, one of the major reviews that we used to get, from participants of Faiththinz communities, that some of them will say that they don't read. They can't remember the last time they read, or it's been a long time they read, but all of a sudden they join this community and they've been reading, like, seriously, they've been reading and growing. Why? Because this is a community of growth-minded individuals. We understand the importance of books and reading books, and we create the platform, we provide the right resources. So you have joined our company, and the anointing in what we are doing is reflecting in your life. That's how it happens in all these different areas of life. So you find out the area that you want to grow in, and you begin to seek out the right resources, the right mentors, the right courses that you can take to improve in that area. That is where the planning comes in. But when you finish this planning, you write out the books, you even go to the market and buy the books from the bookstores, you make contact with the mentors, you even join the community and everything. If you don't set that plan, that particular time to sit and do it is not going to happen. There's always going to be an excuse why you will not sit down and take that course. Everybody is busy. Everybody is just busy. Everything is just so fast. Before you know it, the day is gone. And you don't have time to read. You don't have time to watch any inspirational thing. You don't have time to attend a course. Everything is just going fast. That is where scheduling comes in. You need to sit down and write, by this time, from this time to this time, I'm going to use it to do this. So for me, after I sorted out the books that I wanted to be reading and the different areas, I set a time. I scheduled a time. From once my children leaves for school, I will just come down and sit down on my table and I'll read for 3 hours. For people that work, you don't have that luxury. Me, I had that luxury because I work from home. So I set my alarm clock from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. I will sit down there and make myself read. And once it's 12, I'll get up and then go for the chores, because I realized that working from home, there are so many distractions and you can be carried away doing low level work like cleaning, washing, and all those things, which are very, very important. But at the end of the day, you'll be so exhausted and you've not accomplished anything. But when you assign time for your growth and you sort out the high level work, you can now, use the rest of your energy to tackle those low level work before the end of the day. Because I noticed that this low level work, they sap the energy. By the time you're done with it, you can't even do any other thing for the rest of the day. Let me try and mute all. So that was my own growth plan. And it's so simple. Anybody can do it. For people that are working, you might decide to wake up an hour earlier. That is also another thing that I do during the holidays or the weekends, when I know that everyone is home and everywhere is going to be busy. I wake up earlier and I call it my me time, because I know that once children wake up, because I have a lot of them, you start your conflict resolution, you start doing this, start doing so many things. At the end of the day, you're exhausted. But I wake up like an hour or two before they all wake up. I call it my me time. And it's not selfish. So this is part of self-love. Personal development is self-love. This is something you do for yourself. And it's not selfish. I use this time to read, to reflect, to listen to messages. It's just me, no distraction. And I'm growing. So these are the things that you can, put in place for your own personal growth, because personal development is personal. Nobody will do it for you. You can be advancing in your career. They can be promoting you, but it doesn't equate to personal development. These other areas, you still need to sort them out. You still need to become aware of your giftings, and you still need to begin to work with them, because these are the things that God has put in us. Natural gifts and talents that God has put in us for us to use to be a blessing to our world. Do you know that some people live in this life? They get the best job, they work the best job, they live in the best homes, make a lot of money, die, but they never fulfill their purpose. They never stepped into their calling in life. They did not step into their calling. And every other person is looking at them from the outside and envying them because they have those material things. But they themselves, when they lie down at night, they don't have that joy and peace, because they know that something is missing. One of the things that personal growth can do for you is that by the time you begin to grow those gifts and talents that God has placed in you and begin to use them to be a blessing to yourself and your world, you find out that you sleep very well at night, irrespective of what's happening. There's this joy that comes to your heart, knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Even when you don't have all the resources available. You know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It gives you some level of fulfillment. That's the word. You gain fulfillment because you know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing in life and I'm doing it. And that is the best life to live. So, like I said earlier, this session is going to be short. It's not really long because I've already gone through the GPS. But, we want to take more questions because last week we were not able to take, a lot of questions. So in case people have questions. But before we go to the questions, I'll just do a recap of what I just shared about, establishing your own personal growth plan. You have your goals. You write your goals down. Then you have the plan. How am I going to accomplish this? What are the things that I need to do this? What are the things that I need? I was specific in the area of personal growth, but there are other areas of growth that you want to, is it your career goals that you have? You need to do some certification classes, courses, and everything. If you don't follow the same GPS, it will not happen. You might want to write a certification, exam or a course or something. But if you don't really plan it and schedule a time for your reading and the exam time, it won't happen. You just find out that this whole year, it has come and gone and nothing happened. You seem not to have the time. And the reason is because you did not schedule it. One of the ways and one of the things that have helped me to be able to write so many books in such a short period of time is this same principle. So I will decide on the series I want to work on. That's my goal. And then I'll set out a plan. How am I going to write these books? I might give myself 30 days, 1 month to write a series, which is about 8 to 12 books. And I give myself 30 days to do it. I'll now break it down. That means I can work on a book for 3 days, 2 to 3 days. That's how I do it. Then I begin to work on it. Because sometimes there are so many people here, you want to write books, you want to do so many things, and you're waiting for that one day to sit down and write the whole book. It will not come. But if you break it down, okay, let me write 2 pages today. Let me write another 2 pages in 2 days. Before you know it, you've written that book in 3 weeks or 4 weeks because you scheduled a time. I'll be scheduling 1 hour every day to do this, to read chapter 1, chapter 2, or chapter 3. This is for people that want to read. You schedule a time. You set your alarm clock, you start. Once it's 30 minutes, you off it and continue. By the end of the month, you realize that I've actually read 2 books this month. And other months, you've been looking for the time to sit one day and finish the whole book, and that time never comes. That's the amazing thing about the GPS. And with this, you can accomplish so much more. So, and because you have already set a deadline, you will not be able to rest though. Your brain will be worrying you. Once you lie down, your brain will remind you, you've not met this deadline. You have a book to finish in 30 days. You've not met this deadline. So it keeps you alert. It keeps you, motivated. And there is like the joy that you experience by the time you accomplish a goal is not something that anybody can explain to you. You experience so much joy, so much fulfillment, like it builds your confidence. I actually did this. So you have to write down the goals, make a plan, and schedule it. The scheduling part is the most important because we can have the most amazing goals, have strategic plans. If you don't schedule for it, put a time to do it, it's not going to happen. If you don't put a time to do it, it's not going to happen. That's why some people have been in endless relationship. 10 years, they're still in relationship. They are cutting for 10 years. Why? They've not come to the point of setting dates and time. That's why they're still in that relationship. And if they never get to that place, that marriage will never happen. is innate in every area of our life. So let me stop here and take a few questions. If you have any question, please, based on what we've discussed now or from last week's. Or Pastor IJ, if you have something to add on before the question time, please.
No, I think you have covered mostly. You have covered everything. The only thing I'll probably add is this year that we're entering is loaded. While you were talking, what came to my mind, or what, I don't know what I would say whether it was God that told me, but what came to my mind, or what I've maybe realized too, is that is the basket that we set for God that He will fill. So many of us here, don't be afraid to set big goals. It's the basket you give to God that He will fill, and also be prepared to work hard. Prepared to work hard. Prepared to work really, really hard. But because there's no limit to what God can, what we can accomplish in this coming year. We have set the pace in prayer, set the pace in the planning, the visions and the goals. And now we're talking about the scheduling, and that is hard work. You might want to be watching movie, but want to watch movie, you want to hang out with friends and all that, but it's because of the goals that you have set, you might have that restriction not to go. But, we have to work really hard. That's all I have to add.
Okay. So finally, okay, somebody wants to ask a question. Okay. You will ask the question, but I wanted to make things easier for us because I know that sometimes, even with all these instructions that we share, it's still difficult for a lot of people to put these things together. So I sat down and I made myself a workbook. I made myself a workbook and I printed it. And then afterwards, I saw how good it was. So I made for my children, my older children. So yesterday, I showed it to my brother. My brother was like, wow, this is really nice. So maybe you can make for me, So when I came back, I thought I can actually make for the group and share it so that you can, everyone can go and print it. It's not, it's just simple, just very plain and simple, something you can start with. So I'm going to just show you on the screen so that I'll share my screen. Then afterwards, we'll take the questions and then okay. Please, I hope you can see the screen. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. So this is the one that I made for my son. So this is my son, and
yes, we can.
Okay. So I called it Personal Life Vision, Mission, Dreams, Plans, Goals, Quotes, and Affirmation Book. So the title page has this: each morning and night. It's more like an affirmation or a reminder. Each morning and night, I am confidently reading my list of goals out loud and creating images of the completed goals in my mind. That's the power of imagination. So what I did here is that I like sampling or modeling. So I made a sample of my life objective, the one I shared last week. So I put it in the book because I also got a few people, during the course of the week sent me, their own personal life vision and goals that they set for themselves to review. And it was amazing. It was great. But I saw that, some aspects were still missing. So I felt maybe I should add mine the way that I did mine and share in this workbook so that people can actually look at it and, be able to make theirs, not to write exactly because we don't all have the same life objective. So I put a sample of mine and then I put an empty template by the side so that he'll be able to fill out his own. This is some modeling. Then I put a sample of my vision board. I put pictures of the things that I wanted to, just rough picture of the things that I wanted to accomplish. I put the pictures and then I put a blank space for him to put his own so that he will know what to do. For the one I'm going to share with the group, I didn't put my vision board because it's very personal. I put like a rough picture. Then I put sample of my word from God. There are some words that I'm holding on to going into this year, or I've been holding on to almost all my life. I've been holding on to these words. Like, I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you. They are plans for peace and well-being and not for disaster, to give you a future, a hope, and an expected end. These are words that I'm holding on to. The Bible says that you will be rewarded for this. Your hope will not be disappointed. My hope will not be disappointed. So it's an assurance that I'll be rewarded for my work. And while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. Do you know that just sitting down and crafting these things, writing them down, you're sowing a seed? Just doing this thing is a seed you're sowing. And the Bible says we will be rewarded and there'll be a harvest. There is an expected end. When you set goals, there is an expected end. And that's the assurance that the word of God is giving us. There is an expected end and our expectations will not be cut short. But if we don't set those goals, if we don't dream big and set those goals, that means we are not expecting anything and those ends will not come. So that's why I put these scriptures here as a reminder. Then I put a blank space for him to be able to write his own word from God. I have my expectations this year. I put them down in form of confessions or affirmations that I say and, remind myself every day. The things that I want to accomplish, a few of them, I just put them in affirmation form, and then I put a blank space. Then we have our daily declaration that we say every day. And then there is a place for notes. And then from the other page, you see questions like, where do I see myself 10 years from now? So if you're 20 years old right now, add 10 years to it, you'll be 30. Where do you see yourself when you're 30 years? Because, we don't think long term. We don't really think long. That's why people harm themselves. Like when people commit suicide, you just know that these people are very short-term thinkers because they are just thinking about now. If you add 10 years, 5 years to your life, where will you be? That thing that made some people to kill themselves, like this lady that they said jumped out and just jumped into the lagoon after an argument with fiance. If she had just given herself like 2 extra days, she would have just realized that there's really nothing here. So we need to think long term. If you're 50, in 10 years, you'll be 60. Where will you be? If you're still working now, in 10 years, you might be retired. Where will you be? What will you be doing when you're 70 years? The reason why people die young, and they say it's an African thing, it's not an African thing. It's because people don't have plans here in Africa. Once they retire, they go home, they just die because they're not doing anything again. They'll just last highest 3 years or 4. They will just die because they're not doing anything. Their brains are not working. No hope, nothing. Why are you living now when you don't have anything? At least when you were working, you were going and coming every day, going and coming, going and coming. Once you now retire and there is no plan, it's grave. So we need to think long term. If you are 12 years old today, like this evening, I asked my daughter, in 10 years, how old are you going to be? Add 10 years to your age. She said 21. I said, where will you be at 21? She said she'll be in the university. I said, what will you be doing in the university? She said she'll be studying medicine. I said, what kind of medicine will you be studying? She said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. It's not a growth strategy. It's not a plan. It's not a success strategy. So you need to know. So if you are 15, 20, at 10 years, how old you are at 10 years, where will you be? What will you be doing? What kind of life will you have? Just write it. You will begin to attract those things. Then the next one is closer now. Where do I see myself 5 years from now? So this one is more like it's shorter. In next 5 years, what will you be doing? Where will you be? How will your life be? Then the next one, what will I accomplish within 1 year time frame in my key area of life? This is assuming that you've already sorted out your life vision, mission, statement, and everything. So your key area, what would you have accomplished? No, these are the things that really helped me. It seems like I've accomplished so much in such a little time because I just started my personal development journey like 5 years ago. And today we have done so much. These are the things that helped me. Because I have those things defined, it's easy for me to move fast. So you need to define these things. Then, books to read this year. What books are you going to read? This one is so important. And of course, this is also one of the things that we do here in Faiththinz. We provide platforms, we provide resources for these growth, different growth areas. So before the end of this year, probably by the last week of this month, we'll be releasing our 2023 book catalog for all the platforms. So this coming year, we'll be reading a book a month. We used to read a book a week, but because a lot of people are in multiple platforms, they find it overwhelming. So now we read a book a month. So if you're in 2 platforms, that means you might be able to read 2 books in a month. And it's so easy with the reading app. So we're going to be providing our book catalog so that you can see the list of books that we'll be reading for the entire 2023. And then you make up your mind, the platforms that you want to belong, to, and begin to grow. So these are books that you want to read. Now, the next one is education that I will take this year that will help me make my goals come true. The courses you take, workshops, seminars, audiobooks, classes, list them out. List them out. They are so important. Okay. Oh. Then finally, what are my monthly goals? By date goals, the results that you want to achieve. So what are your monthly goals? In January, what do you want to accomplish in January? We have 12 months of the year. What do you want to accomplish in January? By when? So by the 30th or 20th of January, I would have been able to do this. You should write the thing you want to accomplish by the time you want to accomplish it. So what are my monthly goals? January, February, March. You might not do till December. You might just pick out the first quarter. What do I want to accomplish in January, in February, in March? Then you sort those things down. This is how successful people accomplish so much. This is how they accomplish so much because they are focused. Some people, January, February, March, they are still saying Happy New Year. They've not even planned anything. Nothing is happening. I remember by March of this year, I was talking with Pastor IJ. We had done so much. We had accomplished so much by March. It felt like the year was over, but it was just starting. Why? Because we had all our plans set out by December. So by the 1st of January, we were already on the ground running. This year was truly 10 years in one for us, because the things that we accomplished in this year, we've not accomplished it like in the past 5 years that we started, because we were intentional. And the same thing will happen to every single person that takes out the time to do this groundwork. So what are my monthly goals? You write down the things you want to accomplish by the time you want to do it. Then finally, my weekly GPS. By the time you finish writing your monthly goals, you break it down by weekly. Week 1, this is what I'll do. Week 2, this is what I'll do. Week 3, this is what I'll do. Week 4, this is what I'll do, with the time and date. Then finally, because this is a small journal, we did not put the daily goals, because we can still break out our weekly goals, break them down to daily goals. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is what I can do to be able to meet up. So finally, we have come to the end of this wonderful presentation. So the last slide here is a quote. A dream written down. Please, somebody needs to mute. Somebody, you need to mute yourself, please. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dream a reality. So you dream it, you set a goal, you plan, and you take action. And that is how you live your dreams. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you have any question, please, this is the time we can take 2 questions or 3 questions before we close. Let's start with Tessie. You raised your hands before. Can you go on, Tessie?
Yeah. Wow. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think with the catalog you sent now, I think my question has actually been answered with that, because it was in line with that. But however, I want to testify, when you said it has been 10 years in one, I think I've shared the testimony elsewhere, but I think I need to share it here. Yes, for me, really, it has actually been 10 years in one. I've seen myself doing tremendous things that I never thought I could do. It was just something imagined. But I really, really want to thank God, and I want to thank God for you, for the courage and the boldness you imparted directly and indirectly in me. And I want to thank God for the platform and for everyone. It's been a great time. Thank you so much, Coach. My question has been answered with this thing you shared now. So thank you so much. Thank you for all you do.
Amazing. Okay, we'll share it in the platform so you can all download it. Does any other person have a question, please, so we can call it a night? Any question or testimony? Okay, all Lucci, God knows. Can you please unmute and share?
All right, good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
Well done, ma.
Thank you.
My question is, since this is a group, at times one might have all these things in mind, but want somebody to keep him or her accountable. Or what does it take for one to join the a mastermind class, maybe in
Okay.
order to facilitate all these things that we have, or to make the person to be responsible, I think so. And then
All right.
secondly, the recordings, are we going to have access to it? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Yes, the recordings, you once we finish this and it's available, we'll share it. Just like last week, we shared last week's recording. We share both the video and the audio. So you pick the one that is suitable. Then about the mastermind group, yes, that is why we created that mastermind, because there is nothing all the things that we've been sharing here, we've been sharing it in all the groups. But we noticed that even though people are in the groups, they're not taking advantage of this knowledge. And some of them that are taking advantage of it, they don't have that accountability, that discipline to follow through. So we created the mastermind group, more like a hand holding, is a peer-to-peer group where we hold each other accountable to be able to accomplish great things. Like the lady that shared earlier, she's the mastermind and she's done so many things that she did not even plan to do this year. So to join the mastermind group is an annual is a subscription-based group. That's a group that we have that is paid for. All the other groups are free. So what we do there is that in the beginning of like this December is goal setting. Everybody, we do it free for everyone. And we know that if you're able to set your goals, at least you're 50% half there, you can actually run on your own. But if you feel that you need that extra accountability, then you have to join. You come and join the mastermind, because we go ahead the extra mile to share our at least top 10 goals for the year. You write it, everybody will see it and know, because we hold each other accountable and we review these goals monthly. Aside the book reviews, the general platforms, we share the books, we put the prompters for people to read. But in the mastermind group, everyone is actually assigned a portion of the book to read. So you are actually reading these books and learning from them and reviewing them. And then at the end of the month, we go through your goals again, review them, and then we continue. I believe that for the 2020 cohort, the goals that we set in January, while we are reviewing it, every single individual that set a goal, because we keep record of all the goals. When we shared it again this December for the review, November for the reviews, people were like, they have completely exceeded all their goals. That is what happens when you have accountability. Every day people are posting, I just did this, I just finished my book, I just launched my book club, I just started another branch of my book club in another state, I just opened a reading hub, I just did this one. You will just sit up and be doing your own. So that's the thing about that peer-to-peer mentorship. If you need that thing, we say it's not for everyone, but if you have something that you know that you need to birth forth and you don't know how to, join the mastermind group. That is the assurance we're giving you. It's a grace. And we're not boasting about this, just like the way that most people have joined Faiththinz platforms. They've not been reading, but when they joined, they started reading. That is what happens. If you've not been achieving your goals and you join the company of people achieving goals, you will. Just like Saul, when he joined the company of prophets, he started to prophesy. And people were wondering, is the anointing, it rubs up on you. It's a subscription-based group, and it's 100,000 naira annually. And the good thing about this subscription is that once you become a member of the Legacy Mastermind, you're automatically a partner and a sponsor to our projects, the PDAC Foundation projects that we run in public junior and senior secondary schools, because all the proceeds from this legacy mastermind goes towards this project that we have to empower African children. With the help of our partners, the members of the mastermind, and our other partners, we were able to inspire over 13,000, secondary school children, junior and senior secondary school children this year. We actually distributed over 12,000 copies of our personal development guidebook. Hard copy, not soft copy, hard, printed. We distributed it. We started 8 personal development library book clubs, donated books to their libraries, and we have mentors visiting those schools every week. These are some of the things that you are empowering us and partnering with us to accomplish. So in other words, you're using one stone to kill like plenty birds. So it's a place to be. If you can afford it, it's a place to be. We also have a monthly subscription, even though we don't, really like to subscribe to it because we don't like, pursuing people for payment. But as long as individuals are able to make their payment as at when due without any external influence or push, then you're welcome to make, monthly payments. But other than that, it's an annual payment. You make a one-time payment and you join the group. So I don't know if there's any other question.
That is the payment is actually if one can be faithful on the monthly basis, one can subscribe for that.
Yes, definitely.
So from the explanation, does it mean that the people to be part of maybe next year, the preparation starts now?
Yes, this is a general preparation for everyone. So the people that have already made their payments, they've been added to the main group, and it kicks off on the 1st of January. But December, we make it open for all our Faiththinz community members. We don't want to leave anybody behind. The goal setting, all these things we're doing is for everyone and it's for free. So at the end of it, even the resources I'm going to share now, this workbook, we're going to share free for everyone. So if you don't want to join the mastermind, it's okay. You just run with your goals for the rest of the year. But the people in the mastermind, those are the ones that, the accountability and everything we work with for that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, Beauty, please. You raised your hand. Can you go ahead?
Yes, please. Good evening. Thank you so much. Can we break the payment into 2? Can we pay it twice for someone that can?
Yes, you can. Yes, please. Yes, you can. But you send me a private message so that we can make the arrangement.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you can. Thank you. So this is really our last Zoom session. Our 14-day prayer is still ongoing. It will end on the 14th. And that will be our last day, for the joint group sessions. So I just pray that we've been able to get value. I believe we've been able to get value. You may have to go back to the videos because I know that there's so much, we shared so much in the audio the last week and this week. You can be able to sit with it and be able to set your goals for the coming year. So, okay, we'll take one more question and then we can call it a night. Olubumi, please, can you unmute and ask?
Good evening, please. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My question is, the legacy mastermind, is it open to everyone, like people in production or some entrepreneurs, or is basically for those in education?
No,